Hi, this is me. Welcome back again to my second part of the series about forgiveness, God's forgiveness. And the question that we have at the end of the video is, does it mean that when we know that we are forgiven of all our sins, past, present, and future, does it make us want to purposely, deliberately do something that harm other people? So that brings us to the question, what do you understand about having no consciousness of sin? And that verse, that phrase is taken from Hebrews. If the worshippers once purged of their conscience by the blood of bulls and goats, they would have had, that is a subjunctive anyway, they would have had no more consciousness of sin. But this man, Jesus Christ, and he has purged our conscience and sat down at the right hand of God. So the blood of bulls and goats cannot cleanse the conscience, but the blood of Christ, symbolically, literally, whatever you want to understand, however you want to understand. And I choose to understand more in terms of symbolically. Of course, that's as good as real. It doesn't mean we are just metaphorically forgiven or cleansed in our conscience, but we are literally cleansed, forgiven in our conscience. So we should have and we would have no more consciousness of sin. Sin to me, it can be a verb, it can be a noun. A verb as in wrong action, doing wrong, doing something that harm others, failing to love our brother and sisters. That is the verb of sin, sinful deeds. And noun would be the act of forgetting who we really are. Sin means it's a state of being, it's a state of, we used to be in Adam, now we are in Christ. So it means that our understanding, our perception, our knowledge of our own identity have changed. It does not really mean that our identity had changed. Like we used to be a poor, miserable, bad, evil sinner. Now we are transformed into a butterfly, a perfect, Christ-like, blameless person. I see it more as our identity has always been in Christ from the very beginning. God made everything good, so there's nothing so-called bad. God made everything perfect because God is perfect. He cannot make anything imperfect. But our understanding has become imperfect after Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They have a separation mindset. They forgot who they were. Until today, we forget who we are and we forget why we came on this earth. So the good news is about remembering our true identity, that we are all along in Christ. We are all along blameless, perfect, whole, and complete. We are children of God, children of the divine. We have a divine nature. So that leads us to the question, will knowing how much we are forgiven make us want to purposely do more lawless deeds? If we truly have a revelation in our heart that we are forgiven of all our sins, we will love much. Because he who is forgiven much, love much. And that is shown in the gospel story where the woman went at Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hand, and Jesus says to that effect that she knows how much is forgiven, therefore she loved much. And in the same way, having no more consciousness of sin also means the same as having consciousness of righteousness. Once we were in the prison called sin, now we are in the prison called righteousness. It's more than just location, or it's not so much we have changed places, but it's more like our understanding of our position have changed. Because we once thought that we were separate from God, when we have never been separate in the first place from God. But now we understand that we are always in Christ, we are always one with God. Just like the prodigal son, when he came home, he thought that he was separated from the father, and he wanted to rehearse a speech to ask his father to make him a hired servant, because he thought he's no longer a son. But the father answered his request by affirming that he has always been his son. So we have, in the same way, we have never lost our identity and our connection with God, our divine self. So that is being conscious of righteousness, conscious of our true identity. And when we know how much we are already righteous, does it make us want to do unrighteous deeds? No, because we act out what we believe. As Pastor Josephine always like to say, right believing leads to right living. So in the same way, wrong believing leads to wrong living. So I'm using right and wrong for this purpose, because I believe there's actually ultimately no right or wrong. It's like the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that being law conscious. But in a sense, right believing leads to right living, because if we believe that we are poor, miserable, evil, sinner, then we will end up living that kind of image that we have of ourselves. We will continue to do things that dishonor ourselves, things that dishonor other people, things that hurt and harm ourselves and other people. But if we are conscious of our true identity, our righteousness in Christ, then we will end up doing righteous deeds. Deeds that honor ourselves and other people, deeds that do not harm ourselves and harm other people. Because Paul said in Romans, the whole law, you can talk about so many laws, if you go to the ministry of law and read all the statutes and decrees and ordinances in the law ministry or in the Bible, in the Old Testament, whatever you want, because we cannot pick and choose. People who claim to obey the law do not obey the law fully. They will always fall short. Even the 10 Commandments, the last commandment, thou shalt not covet, we cannot even desire. So how can we even stop our desiring, our coveting? Nobody can. So it really boils down to just one commandment, and the whole law is summed up in one commandment, that is the new commandment, which is to love our neighbor as ourselves. So before we can love our neighbor, we have to first love ourselves. Self-love is the mother of all love. It's the beginning of romance. It's more than romance. It's unconditional love. And so that is the new commandment. The whole law is summed up in the commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, because love does no harm to a neighbor. So basically it boils down to just one law. And what is love? Love is something that does not harm anybody. So whatever tradition you belong to, whatever belief system that you hold on to, whether you call yourself a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, yeah. So basically we all do not want to harm one another, and we define that as love. And when we love ourselves, we will not harm ourselves, and we do not harm ourselves, we will not harm other people, and we end up loving other people. So first, love yourself, FLY, and that is my question to the question two. My answer to question two. My understanding about having no consciousness of sin and having a consciousness of righteousness will empower us, enable us to live the righteous life and the loving life. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again in my next video.